Welcome to Tea and Tarot with me, your host, Yashna. Each week I'll share what I've learned as I dive deeper into the world of tarot. I've got my cards in front of me, my cup of tea, and I can't wait to share this journey with you. This is Tea and Tarot.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Tea and Tarot with me, Yashna. This week we are continuing through the Major Arcana and we are on number 17, the Star. I've got a cup of matcha and I'm ready to jump into it. At a high level, this card is about hope and wishes being granted. It's generally a good card in readings and follows the chaos the Tower brought in the last step of the journey and helps to focus on using your energy towards renewed hope and taking your next steps forward. The image of the Maiden and Star has shifted a bit over time. In the Visconti Sforza deck, she's shown as a woman holding a star, with more symbols being added over time. The Maiden may be the Greek goddess of love and fertility, Aphrodite, or her Roman form, Venus. We talked about her a bit with the Lover's card, but she is seen as the epitome of beauty and the goddess of love, relationships, fertility, everything in that realm. And if that is the case, the star above her can be seen as Venus or the morning star, kind of a guiding light. An alternative interpretation of the Maiden is the Egyptian Isis, queen of magic and fertility. In this scenario, the star is her symbol Sirius, which is a fertility omen of the Nile. In legends, when Sirius, the brightest star in the night sky, appeared, the Nile would flood, watering the crops growing by the river. In other decks, the star is depicted as an angel and can be seen as a modern interpretation of some of the older virtue cards, particularly Faith. Early decks showed Faith as a female figure holding a cup in one hand and a cross in the other, which may have transcended and become one of the stars shown in the cards. So, jumping into the cards and how they look, we're going to start with the Rider-Waite deck. In the Rider-Waite deck, a maiden is pouring water from two vessels, one into a pond and the other into the earth. She is naked as she does this, and above her are 8 stars, one of them very much bigger than the others. The maiden herself is a symbol of eternal youth and the creative soul, representing Aphrodite or Isis, as we talked about. Her being naked under the stars represents purity and truth. The 8 stars above her represent renewal, as the number 8 in general represents renewal and starting over. This is something that we'll talk about more with the minor arcana as we get to that. And the big guiding star can be seen as a symbol of guidance and fertility. The bird in the background is likely a nod to Aphrodite or Isis as well. Aphrodite was often seen with a dove as a symbol of love, and Isis was often seen with the ibis bird. Birds are also just generally a symbol of freedom and the soul. The flowing water is for the water of life, showing resourcefulness and healing. So from there, let's talk more about the Light Seers deck and how the star is looked at in that. So to start off, I'm going to read a star story from the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. After living through the chaos of the Tower, the star emerges from the ashes with her own feelings of renewed hope. She can't pinpoint exactly why she's feeling this way, yet she is. With a deep breath in, she steps out of the galaxy pool and sits at the edge of the earth. Warmth, beaming, light. There's so much to do from here, so many things to see, and so many places to go. She looks up and instantly remembers where she came from, and feels grateful to have this beautiful opportunity to live renewed. What a gift from the gods! A spiritual being in a flesh and bones experience. She reaches her heart up to the stars and connects with her guiding glow. Subtly, at first, ancient memories begin to stir within her soul. A remembering, a reawakening, a connection long forgotten. And now she knows what she is, and what she came here to do. Her timeline glows the most beautiful of hues as inspiration pours down from the stars. Pure, honest, divine. Hopeful and expectant, she tugs on her light and watches as her miracle starts to flow. In the card, there is a water pool that's mentioned in the story, the galaxy pool, which represents the subconscious, mind, intuition, healing, and reflects the cosmos and divinity, oneness, as above, so below. She's holding a string, which kind of symbolizes holding on to hope and a connection to the universe and faith. There is a star for hope, guidance in the dark, and inspiration, very similar to the Rider-Waite deck. The star has 8 points, which are for different directions, cosmic order, and also for renewal, just like in the Rider-Waite deck. There is a mandala at the base, which is for manifestation, magic, and joy. And the spiral at the top is kind of just to symbolize wishes spiraling up. The general interpretation of this card from the Tarot for Light Seers deck is draw energy from your brightest inner light because you know exactly what you came here to do. The more optimistic message from this book is I expect miracles. The general meaning from the Rider-Waite deck is be inspired, dreams come true. In the Light Seer position, this card can mean expectations fulfilled, wishes granted, opportunities, healing after traumatic events, knowing you are on the right path, soul purpose, inspiration, and renewed hope. In the reverse Shadow Seer, it represents loss of faith, diminished hope, disappointment, missed opportunities, being overly sensitive, and despair. Starting with this card, I'm also going to read the message in the Tarot for Light Seers book and how it's usually interpreted for readings. This is usually what I read and look at when I'm pulling cards for myself and in readings for friends as well. So the star's message: allow yourself to sink into the dreamlike inspiration of the star. She sends a message of divine timing and renewed expectations, and she guides you to reach for that string of serendipity and faith. She promises you that your expectations will be met if you find your conviction, your hope, and your excitement. Your future is increasingly bright. Find unwavering optimism and determination because you are truly being blessed by the universe at this time. Your core purpose, along with your light, is beginning to shimmer at the surface of your reality, and your path is being intrinsically tied to your biggest missions and brightest opportunities for expansion. You are stepping onto a path of fulfillment and happiness with starlight to guide you. Allow your innate essence to shine through any residual darkness right now. Uncover any limiting beliefs or self-doubt that you are holding on to, finding the courage to voice any unexpressed emotions. The past no longer has the weight to hold you down, so release every bit of outgrown energy that is anchoring you to old memories. As you let go, you will focus on the future and find your biggest source of inspiration and love there. Release and ascend. The stars are aligning in your favor, and it's time to embody your trust in them again. So that's kind of the general meaning and how the stars generally interpreted in a reading. More specific for a love reading, the star is a great sign to begin a new relationship and start something new if you're single. If you're in a relationship, it signifies stepping deeper into your partnership. In the reverse, it can mean you've lost trust in your partner or are more focused on the negative aspects of the relationship. These problems can be fixed, but you have to work to clear out the negative energy and focus on the positive aspects again. In a money and career reading, it's a great omen that new opportunities are coming. It's a good time to think about what you want from work because your wishes may manifest. In the reverse, you might be feeling bored or stuck, but things aren't as bad as they seem. It's time to be hopeful and wish for something in your life again. Look to the star for inspiration as you find what sparks you. For health, the star is a symbol for great healing and things being resolved in a positive way. In the reverse, it can mean you're worrying too much and need to take some deep breaths and look for the positives that might be hiding. And finally, for spirituality reading, this card It's a great omen around inner healing and connecting to your spiritual self on a deeper level. In the reverse, it can mean you've lost some faith and need to re-examine why you once believed in the spiritual realm around you and what took you away from it in order to reconnect. And to wrap up the first half of this episode, I am going to share some random little trivia I found about stars in general. On a dark, moonless night, the naked eye can see about 2,000 stars at a time. There are over 9,000 stars visible to the naked eye, with a lot more available with a telescope used to see fainter ones. There are likely 1 trillion stars in the Milky Way galaxy. What you see when you look at the stars are actually their past selves because of how far away they are and how long it takes for light to travel. For example, Sirius is 8 light years away, so what we see of the star is actually how the star looked 8 years ago. We will never be able to see it in its current state. Shooting stars are not actually stars, but meteors of other small debris entering Earth's atmosphere at a high speed, burning up on entry and creating the streaks of light that we see and make wishes on. And that is all I've got on the content for the star. This is a fun and very positive card to get in readings, and personally with the Light Seers deck, I just love the imagery for this card and the hopefulness that shines from her. Stay tuned, and I will be right back to do the Starlit Dreams Spread from the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook. So stay tuned. Okay, I'm back, and I am doing the Starlit Dreams Spread from the Tarot for Light Seers guidebook, like I mentioned before. For this one, it says to tune into the stars' feelings of hope before pulling my cards. So I don't really have a way to verbalize that, but I am trying to channel the star as much as I can. The star is going to be placed as the first card for this reading, so it's going to stay in the spread as card number 1. And then I am going to be picking 3 more cards for this reading. So I'm going to shuffle the cards really quick. And so then that way, we are just ready to go on this. Thinking about hope, thinking about renewal. This is a spread for finding hope and optimism. And I'm just going to cut the deck into 3. So card number 2, card number 3, and then 4. So flipping these over. For number 2, it is for hope. How can I find or cultivate more hope? For this one, I have picked the Hierophant. For number 3, which is a message about optimism, I have drawn the 9 of Swords, which is a card about anxiety, so I don't know how that fits into optimism. And then 4, what action can I take to grab a hold of my brightest starlight? This one is the 10 of Cups. So these are my cards for the spread. I am going to take a quick look at the meaning so then I can tie it all together. Okay, I have read through the cards, and I do think even the 9 of Swords makes sense where it is. So kind of starting through the beginning, hope. The Hierophant is all about finding your own path, listening to your inner self, following your inner teaching. So I think around the question of how can I find or cultivate more hope, the Hierophant's message to me is to figure out what that path looks like. Trust my inner teachings, trust my inner light as I'm moving forward on my path. And the way that I will cultivate more hope is by opening myself up to other options, to other mental models of how things work. And because of the 10 of Cups card, I'm going to say this is kind of a little bit around a love reading for myself. Like, I'm just going to call it that because it makes it a little easier to interpret. So I'll say with cultivating more hope around finding new relationships, the Hierophant's really about rethinking my internal structure of relationships, rethinking what I believe about them, and finding a new path and a new light to walk along, and really trusting my gut instinct on it a lot more. And to the next card, Nine of Swords, for optimism. The Nine of Swords is a huge card for anxieties and stressors. It's not normally a card about optimism, but I will say the message from the Nine of Swords that really kind of connects to this is to not focus so much on the negatives and to not focus so much on the things that are causing me stress or anxiety. The Nine of Swords really is like what keeps you up at night. What are the things that stress you out? What are in your nightmares? But in order to find optimism and to move forward, you need to try and push those away and instead focus more on the optimistic side of things, focus more on the light message that comes through. So I think it's just a reminder that in order to be optimistic and to find optimism, you do have to let go of those negative stressors in your life, which is fair. That's a very fair statement. And then the last one, the Ten of Cups, is for what action can I take to grab a hold of my brightest starlight, especially if I look at this as a relationship reading. The brightest starlight is that union, that partnership that I'm looking for. So how do I find it? The Ten of Cups is about trusting your heart and trusting that you can open yourself up to different relationships, leading with your heart and giving yourself more to your community, to those around you. So I think it's really a message about just opening up more. So in tying all of these kind of together as a spread for hope and optimism, I need to find my own path forward, like rethink my path and this teaching structure around me about relationships, let go of the stresses and anxieties that are holding me down or holding me back, and instead focus on leading with my heart and kind of trusting my heart and gut more as I start or continue some of my existing relationships with my friends, with my community, but then also as I open myself up to other possibilities and new people. So that's the spread. I think it's a pretty interesting spread. Maybe not necessarily what I was expecting it to be about, because I thought it'd be more work related, but I think it's a pretty apt reading that fits some of what I've been thinking about lately. So that's it. That's the star reading. Thank you so much for tuning into this week's episode of Tea and Tarot, and tune back in next week where I will be sharing a breakdown of Eternal Sunshine by Ariana Grande as tarot cards. I am so excited for this one, so check back in next week and I will see you then. Thank you for listening to Tea and Tarot with Yashna. This episode was produced, hosted, and edited by me, Yashna Bensel, and brought to you by Tea Time Podcasts. The tarot reading was done using the Light Seers deck by Chris Ann, and all card visuals were from the Light Seers deck and the Rider-Waite Smith tarot deck. Research was done using Wikipedia, The Ultimate Guide to Tarot by Liz Dean, Tarot for Light Seers by Chris Ann, and many, many Google searches. Music was made using SoundRaw. Join me next week for another episode of Tea and Tarot.